A single shot broke the silence of Nassau's moonlit beach. The waves kept rolling in, indifferent to the life that had just ended on the white sand. Paradise turned into a crime scene in an instant. One moment, Mireille Duvall stood on the private veranda of her luxury honeymoon villa, the ocean breeze lifting her hair. The next, her body lay motionless where the sand met the water, blood seeping into the pristine shore. Above her stood her husband of just 7 days, Sergeant Rafe Maddox, service weapon still warm in his shaking hand. This wasn't some random tourist tragedy. Both wore badges back home. Both had sworn to uphold the law. Now one was dead and one was a killer. How well do you truly know the person sleeping beside you, the one who vowed to love and protect you until death? For Mireille, death came far sooner than anyone could have imagined, and from the very hand that had just placed a wedding ring on hers. What drives a decorated police sergeant to murder his new bride just days after saying "I do"? Was it a moment of rage, a calculated execution, or something far more complex, a web of corruption, cartel connections, and compromised loyalty that stretched from their hometown police precinct all the way to the crystal waters of the Bahamas? The sun-soaked beaches of Nassau hide dark secrets. Behind the honeymooners' perfect photos and sunset kisses, a dangerous game had been playing out, one that would end with a bullet. You think you know where this story is headed, but every twist will challenge what you believe about love, duty, and the thin blue line. What would you do if you discovered your new spouse, the person you trusted most, was living a dangerous double life? Would you confront them? Look the other way? Or would you, like Mireille, pay the ultimate price for seeking the truth? Welcome back to Altar of Secrets, where love stories reveal their darkest corners. A special shout out and thank you to our loyal subscribers, as well as first-time viewers joining us today. Here at Altar of Secrets, we transform real events into dramatic narratives that expose the warning signs most people overlook until tragedy strikes. Our stories aren't just about the crime, they're about the human choices that led there. If you're new here, now's the perfect moment to hit that subscribe button and activate the notifications so you don't miss our uploads. We bring you cases that challenge what you think you know about marriage, relationships, and trust. Drop a like if you're already forming theories about what happened to Mireille, and let us know in the comments which country you're watching from. Our global community sees these stories from fascinating perspectives. Now let's return to Nassau, where a honeymoon paradise became the backdrop for betrayal, hidden corruption, and a marriage that ended with a gunshot on the beach. Their colleagues called them the power pair. Mireille Duvall had built her reputation as one of the state's most thorough financial crimes investigators. Her analytical mind could follow money trails that others missed. Where most saw random numbers, she saw patterns of deceit. At 32, she'd already helped recover millions in stolen funds and put white-collar criminals behind bars who thought themselves untouchable. She could find a needle in a digital haystack, her supervisor once said. Give her bank statements and a laptop, and she'll find where the money's hiding. Rafe Maddox walked a different path in law enforcement. At 36, his 8 years in narcotics had earned him respect on the streets and in the squad room. He moved with calculated confidence through dangerous operations, known for staying cool when situations heated up. His record showed 15 major drug busts in the last 3 years alone. They met during a joint task force investigation, her following the money, him tracking the product. Colleagues noticed the spark immediately. Their first date lasted 5 hours at a corner cafe near the precinct, talking shop until the owners needed to close. We complement each other, Mireille told her sister. I see the details. He sees the big picture. Together, we miss nothing. Their wedding, 6 months ago, brought together two sides of law enforcement. The ceremony remained small, just family and close friends, but the celebration afterward filled the local officer's bar until dawn. They exchanged vows written on police notepads, promising not just love, but partnership. They were going places, remembered Captain Rivera. Mireille was on track for the Federal Financial Crimes Unit. Rafe had his eye on heading narcotics within 2 years. Have you ever envied a couple who seemed to have everything figured out? The ones whose relationship and careers align so perfectly that success feels inevitable? That's how everyone viewed Mireille and Rafe. But perfect surfaces often hide complicated truths. And as they boarded their flight to Nassau for their delayed honeymoon, Neither suspected that paradise would become the place where their carefully constructed life together would end with blood on sand. Who's watching this story unfold from a place where police corruption has made headlines? Let us know in the comments below. "I've never seen water so blue," Mireille gasped as their taxi curved along the coast toward their private villa. The Bahamas Honeymoon was Rafe's surprise, a week at an exclusive resort that cost more than their monthly salaries combined. The beachfront villa stood isolated on a stretch of perfect white sand. Floor-to-ceiling windows faced the endless Atlantic. A private infinity pool merged visually with the ocean horizon. Inside, fresh flowers adorned every room, champagne chilled in crystal buckets, and a four-poster bed waited draped in silk. "How can we afford this?" Mireille asked, running her hand along the marble countertop. Rafe pulled her close. "Been saving. Plus, I got lucky at some poker games with the guys from Vice. Don't worry about money, not here." For the first 2 days, they barely left the villa, lost in newlywed bliss and room service. But on the third morning, Mireille woke alone. Through the open patio doors, she spotted Rafe pacing by the shoreline, phone pressed to his ear, his free hand gesturing sharply. When he returned, his smile seemed forced. "Work stuff. Never ends, right?" It happened again that afternoon, and the next morning. Each time, Rafe would step away, speak in hushed tones, then return with elaborate plans for island excursions, or suggests another bottle of champagne. "Everything okay back home?" she asked during dinner at the resort's exclusive restaurant. "Just tying up loose ends on that Martinez case," he replied too quickly. His phone buzzed. He glanced down, switched it to silent. The phone became a third presence in their honeymoon. It would light up at 3 a.m. Texts would come in coded language that seemed off, even for police work. When Mireille approached, Rafe would flip the phone over or slip it into his pocket. "That's an awful lot of calls for someone on vacation," she noted one morning. "You know how it is. The bad guys don't take time off, so neither do we." But something in his eyes didn't match his words. That night, watching him sleep, Mireille couldn't shake the question forming in her mind. What kind of police business requires secret calls from a Bahamian beach at midnight? Would you notice these warning signs on your honeymoon, or would paradise blind you to the truth? The red flags were waving, but the worst was yet to come. 5 days into their honeymoon, Mireille woke to an empty bed again. The clock read 4:17 a.m. Through the window, she spotted Rafe down by the water's edge, his silhouette illuminated by moonlight, phone against his ear. Her training kicked in. Financial investigators develop a sixth sense for inconsistencies, numbers that don't add up, patterns that break. Now those same instincts pulled at her consciousness. The villa itself raised questions. Their combined savings couldn't possibly cover this luxury. The poker winnings explanation felt thin. Rafe had never mentioned poker nights before planning this trip. That afternoon, as Rafe swam in the ocean, Mireille flipped through their reservation details left on the coffee table. The total, $14,900 for 7 nights. The payment came from an account she'd never seen. "You're not going to believe what I found," Rafe announced, returning from his swim. He held up a perfect sand dollar, first one I've ever seen intact. She smiled, sliding the papers back into their folder. "It's beautiful." That night at dinner, Rafe excused himself twice for phone calls. When he returned the second time, his jaw was tight, eyes scanning the restaurant as if looking for someone. "Police habit," he explained, catching her watchful gaze. "Always checking exits." Mireille nodded, knowing the habit well, but police training also taught her to trust her gut. The next morning, she suggested a couple's massage at the resort spa. As the therapist worked, she kept her eyes closed, appearing relaxed while her mind cataloged the incongruities. The unexplained wealth, the secretive calls, the tension in his shoulders whenever his phone vibrated, the way he changed subjects when she asked about work, his insistence on paying cash everywhere despite their shared credit cards. Like evidence in a case file, each detail alone meant little. Together they formed a disturbing pattern. As they walked back to their villa, a staff member approached. "Mr. Maddox, a package arrived for you." Rafe's face changed. "I'll get it later." "But sir, the messenger said it was urgent." "I said later," Rafe snapped. The worker retreated. Mireille felt her skin go cold despite the tropical heat. "Work stress," Rafe muttered. "Let's get ready for dinner." That night she lay awake listening to his breathing. Something wasn't right. Tomorrow, she decided. Tomorrow she would find answers. Have you ever felt that pit in your stomach when something just doesn't add up about someone you love? What would you do next? Hit like if you'd become your own detective in this situation. Morning light filtered through the curtains as Mireille listened to the shower running. Rafe's phone sat on the nightstand, lighting up with another notification. She hesitated for only a second before picking it up. The passcode, her birthday, revealed a hidden messaging app she'd never seen before. A thread of conversations appeared, filled with coded language that raised every red flag in her investigator's mind. Package secured at drop point 3, wire confirmed, 50K cleared. The shipment arrives tomorrow, beach handoff as planned. Her heart raced. These weren't police communications. The language matched what she'd seen in financial fraud cases tied to drug trafficking. A text from a contact labeled only as J made her blood freeze. Payment received. Enjoy your trip. Remember, loose ends tie themselves. The bathroom door opened. She quickly replaced the phone and pretended to be scrolling through her own. Thought we could try that snorkeling spot today, Rafe said, toweling his hair. Sounds perfect, she replied, her voice steady despite the chaos in her mind. While Rafe arranged the excursion, Mireille slipped away to the villa's small office area. Using her laptop, she accessed their joint banking records. Nothing unusual. Then she tried something else, a search through property records back home under variations of Rafe's name. There it was, a beach house purchased 3 months ago under R. Maddox Holdings for $425,000. Cash transaction. How does a sergeant afford that on his salary? She expanded her search, using investigative database access she wasn't supposed to use for personal reasons. 2 offshore accounts in the Caymans. Wire transfers coinciding with major drug busts Rafe had led. The pieces connected like a caseboard in her mind. The undercover operation 6 months ago where Rafe had infiltrated the Vasquez cartel. The operation officially ended with arrests, but what if it hadn't really ended? What if Rafe had crossed a line, or been compromised? Her hands shook as she closed the laptop. Outside, Rafe waited by the infinity pool, sunglasses on, looking like any carefree husband on his honeymoon. But now she saw what others couldn't, a man caught between worlds. A cop playing both sides. Her husband, a stranger. Ready for snorkeling? He called. Just coming, she answered, decision weighing on her like stone. Would she confront him, report him, or pretend she never saw? Have you ever discovered something about a loved one that changed everything? Drop a comment about how you'd handle this impossible situation. The choice Mireille makes next will cost someone their life. The sun sank toward the horizon, painting the sky in deepening shades of orange and purple. Mireille waited on the veranda, the ocean waves providing rhythm to her racing thoughts. She'd sent the snorkeling guide away, claiming a migraine. Now she just needed Rafe to return from his quick phone call. She heard his footsteps on the wooden deck before she saw him. Feeling better? He asked, placing a hand on her shoulder. We need to talk, Rafe. Her voice stayed level, professional, the same tone she used when interviewing suspects. He sat across from her, sunglasses still on despite the fading light. About? The offshore accounts, the beach house you bought for cash, the messages about packages and drop points. She watched his face change as she listed each item. The $50,000 wire transfer that happened yesterday. His jaw tightened. You went through my phone. Yes. A heavy silence fell between them, broken only by the persistent waves. It's not what you think, he finally said, removing his sunglasses. His eyes darted toward the beach, checking for witnesses. Then explain it to me, because right now, it looks like my husband is working with the Vasquez cartel instead of arresting them. Rafe leaned forward, voice dropping. They threatened my family, Mireille. My sister, her kids. They knew where they lived, their schedules. What was I supposed to do? Go to internal affairs. Go to the FBI, he laughed bitterly, and put a target on everyone's back? You don't know these people. So you became one of them? Her voice cracked. How much have you moved for them? I had a plan. He insisted. Get enough evidence, then turn it all over, protect my family and take down their whole operation. When, Rafe, after another year, 5 years, this honeymoon, we're paying for it with blood money. His eyes flashed. I did what I had to do. And now I have to do what's right. She pulled out her phone. I'm calling Captain Rivera. Rafe's hand shot out, grabbing her wrist. You can't. Let go of me. Just listen, one more week. I can finish this, make it right. She yanked her arm free. There's no making this right. You've been stealing drug money, helping criminals. I was protecting us. His voice rose over the waves. Everything I did was for our future. Our future? Disbelief filled her words. Our future was supposed to be built on justice, not corruption. She stood, moving toward the villa door. I'm packing my things. Tomorrow morning we're flying home and you're turning yourself in. His face hardened as he reached for the small of his back. I can't let you do that, Mireille. The metal of his service weapon caught the last light of day. Put the gun down, Rafe. Mireille's voice remained steady, her training kicking in despite the surreal horror of facing her husband's weapon. You don't understand what you're doing. His hand wasn't steady. If I go down, they'll come for both of us. She stepped backwards, moving toward the steps leading to the beach. This isn't you. This isn't the man I married. The man you married is trying to keep us alive. His voice broke. Please, just listen. I've heard enough. She kept moving, sand now beneath her feet. You have a choice right now. Make the right one. His eyes darted between her face and her phone. I can't go to prison. Then don't make this worse than it already is. The moment stretched between them. Two trained officers in a standoff no academy scenario had prepared them for. Give me the phone, Mireille. She clutched it tighter. No. He moved toward her, weapon raised. Give me the damn phone! She turned to run, a professional reflex to create distance from an armed threat. His free hand caught her arm, spinning her around. They struggled, bodies close in a twisted parody of their wedding dance. The gun discharged. The sound echoed across the water as Mireille's body stiffened. Her eyes widened in shock more than pain. She looked down at the spreading red stain on her white beach dress, then back at Rafe's face. You actually did it, she whispered. Her legs gave way. She collapsed onto the sand at the water's edge, waves gently reaching for her fallen form. Rafe stood frozen, gun still extended. Mireille? His voice small, disbelieving. Baby, get up. But she couldn't. Her eyes stared upward, reflecting the first evening stars appearing in the darkening sky. He dropped to his knees beside her. It was an accident. I didn't mean to, but no one was listening anymore. Would you have seen this coming from the beginning? Hit subscribe if you spotted the warning signs before Mireille did. Resort security heard the gunshot. Two staff members reached the beach first, finding Rafe cradling Mireille's body, repeating, it was an accident, over and over. Bahamian police arrived within minutes. They separated Rafe from his wife's body and began securing the scene. His service weapon lay in the sand, one bullet missing. She attacked me, Rafe told the first officers. We were arguing, she came at me, the gun went off. But the physical evidence told a different story. No defensive wounds on Rafe, the angle of the bullet's entry, the distance from which it was fired. Nothing supported his claim of self-defense. When police searched the villa, they found Mireille's laptop open to her research, screenshots of bank transfers, property records, and notes she'd taken about Rafe's suspicious activities. Her final act as an investigator had built the case against her killer. Within hours, Bahamian authorities contacted their American counterparts. A joint task force assembled, headed by Captain Rivera himself. What they uncovered shocked the entire department. For 18 months, Rafe had been providing intelligence to the Vasquez cartel while appearing to work against them. He'd warned them about raids, helped them move product, and laundered over $800,000 through various accounts. During questioning, Rafe eventually abandoned his accident defense. He admitted to killing Mireille when she threatened to expose him. I didn't see any other way out, he told investigators. The trial lasted just 9 days. Despite his attorney's attempts to paint him as a victim of cartel coercion, the jury found Rafe Maddox guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced him to life without parole. In a cruel twist, 2 weeks after the verdict, the FBI arrested 4 members of the Vasquez cartel leadership. The operation had been in motion for months. If Rafe had come clean when Mireille confronted him, he might have received leniency in exchange for cooperation. Instead, he sits in a maximum security cell while his wife's badge number has been retired and placed on the wall of honor at her precinct. What would you sacrifice for the truth? Would you risk everything like Mireille did? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Every year, Dozens of officers lose their lives, not in the line of duty, but at home, at the hands of those they trust most. Mireille's story carries warnings we can't ignore. Looking back, the signs were visible long before that fatal confrontation on the beach. The sudden wealth without clear origin, the secretive phone calls, the unexpected luxury honeymoon far beyond their means, the defensive reactions when questioned, the growing isolation from friends and colleagues. We train officers to spot danger on the streets, but not in their own homes, says police psychologist Dr. Renee Wilson. Mireille's professional skills ultimately revealed the truth, but too late to save her life. In precincts across the country, Mireille's case has become a catalyst for change. New protocols require regular financial audits for officers working narcotics and organized crime units. Partner support groups now help spouses recognize warning signs of corruption or compromise. The blue line stays strong only when it stays honest, Captain Rivera told reporters at the memorial service. Mireille died upholding that principle. Perhaps the most painful lesson is how easily principles can erode under pressure. Rafe began with a justification, protecting his family, but ended as the very danger he once fought against. For Mireille's parents, who lost their only daughter, no justice feels sufficient. She believed in right and wrong, her father said, even when that belief cost her everything. What would you have done in Mireille's position? Would you have confronted your spouse, fled the honeymoon, or contacted authorities immediately? Let us know in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Your support helps us continue sharing these crucial lessons. Until next time, remember, trust is earned in drops but lost in buckets. The most dangerous lies aren't the ones we're told, but the ones we tell ourselves when we ignore what's right in front of us. Stay safe, stay aware, and thank you for joining us today. See you on another story from the Altar of Secrets. Bye for now.